Welcome back to Blog Access 101. I'm your host, Young Abachi. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify by searching Blog Access 101. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to like and comment, subscribe. Here today with a special guest for episode 289, Joidon Jennings, Senior Manager in Digital Marketing Strategy at Roc Nation. How you doing, Joidon?
Good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Can't complain. It's definitely a cold December day, but other than that, I'm fine. Jump right into it. Just briefly introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, and what you currently do.
Yeah, so my name is Joidon Jennings. I'm originally from Huntsville, Alabama. Currently working as the Senior Manager of Digital Marketing and Strategy at Roc Nation, specifically in the sports department. Previously, before that, I worked in the NFL. I worked for the Baltimore Ravens, the Green Bay Packers, and the Houston Texans. So moved a lot. And now I'm in New York City, and I'm happy to be on the podcast today to share my experience and knowledge with everyone. So.
Yeah, I appreciate you having you. And I see you. I definitely saw. I looked at some of your your resume. Like you've been around a lot of places. So how has that been, just traveling different places? Because I tell a lot of my students, it's like, yeah, a lot of them want to just be at home or something, work at home. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but eventually you're gonna have to get out your comfort zone, and probably the job that you might get an offer and might be somewhere else where you might not at the beginning not want to go into, but. Like I always tell them, it's not there forever home. I mean, maybe it potentially could be, but for now, it could just be the starting point to get to where you need to get to.
Right, exactly. I think like traveling for me, for work, it's just taught me a lot about myself, and it's just really enhanced my skills just as a person. It just really forces you to like get out of your comfort zone. And you never know like what skills you can learn and like all the possibilities that can come from, traveling and just getting out of your hometown. So I really do. I speak to a lot of students as well, and I really encourage them to like, don't limit yourself to just one area, one city, or one state. Like have an open mindset to like really, think outside and really explore your options. Like the world is your oyster, basically.
Yeah, especially if it's everybody. So many people, like we talked about, like, well, I think I listened to one interview, like injury is so small, and there's so many people trying to fight for the same positions, and you're just going in one area, and then you're getting flustered while you're not getting the opportunities. It's like because you just put yourself in one small pond instead of you can swim in the ocean. But yeah,
exactly, I agree.
But yeah, early on in your career, I saw that you worked at Alabama State. So I went to HBCU as well. So working in a small athletics department, requires you to wear many hats.
Yeah.
What skill did you gain at Alabama State that you still rely on today in your current role?
I think the biggest skill, like you said, at HBCUs, they're just, understaffed. When I was there personally, back in 2018, 17, it was just very understaffed. And one skill that I think that I learned was just really stepping in and just having the mindset like to just really be a sponge and soak up as much knowledge as you can in multiple departments. I think even now, working on the agency side, we're smaller than the organizations, the teams that I've been on. So really just having a mindset to be like, okay, just because my title says, digital marketing, I can still like work with the brand team. I can still work with community. I can still, have an open mind and like work with other teams. And, that just really expounds my knowledge. So just having having a growth mindset and just really putting your hands in and just being a team player, I think that just propels you in the industry overall.
Yeah, definitely. Especially particularly with that growth mindset. Also, like talk about expounding on, like, obviously I know you're in digital marketing. But also, you want to learn other skills too. For maybe let's say you want to pivot out of that career, not now, but years down the line or something. You have those skills that allow you to do that. A lot of people just put themselves in a box and it's like, oh, I just want to do this, which is fine. But sometimes, after a certain amount of years, sometimes you might get complacent or bored at the job, and now you want to do something new, but now you can't because you haven't really learned any new skills.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's definitely a big part. It's definitely HBCUs because they'll have you want to do everything. Like you said, underfunding, of course, unfortunately. But it's good for the students aspect because now you get to wear many hats and learn new things that you probably didn't even know that you wanted to do. And then you're like, oh, okay, I actually like this more than what I said I wanted before. So
Right. It's a more intimate setting. That's what I say, too, because it's smaller and then you have more resources as well. Relying on that. Like another thing I'm also grateful for is the opportunity to go to like some of these NFL, HBCU career in sports, like football forums, networking events that they offer exclusively for HBCU students. So taking advantage of those resources as well is one thing I like to tell students too. Is like if you're going to a school for 4 years and paying tuition, like make sure you look into all the resources that the school can provide for you as well.
Definitely, because I forgot which podcast. I think it was one you was on in 2020, but it was talking when you talking about how like a lot of these schools are asking at some of the interviews like, do you do like what do you do at your current university? And it's
Right.
like, and they said they weren't doing anything, which is crazy because it's crazy. Like you'd be surprised by how many students still do that now. They was like, oh, I want to work in this field, and it's like, okay, so what have you done like
Right.
volunteer work or internships at a certain place? And they were like, oh, I haven't done. I was like, all right, so do you really want to do this, or just you just saying it because it
Exactly.
sound good? Like, because if you want to do it, you gotta start putting the work in.
Yeah.
Like,
Being
but
proactive right now. Yeah.
yeah, and also it's like.
Definitely.
Like I tell a lot of students, you don't know who you're gonna like. You don't never know who this person is gonna be next year. They could be the next big person in the sports industry,
Mhm.
and like obviously, another person you got to build a relationship. So the relationship really start within your peers that you going to school with, and then of course your professors and the other advisors and all that. But mainly with the people that you in class with.
Right,
But
right. Building those
uh,
relationships early. Yeah.
yeah, so I feel like that helps like segues, make it more comfortable for people to have the relationship, build relationships in a career because now you already did it
Hmm.
in school, and now it's easy to do it, translate to the career wise. But
Yeah.
so I saw that you created some images, videos, and photo galleries for like multiple platforms. What did this early multimedia experience teach you about shaping a team's visual brand?
Yeah, it taught me a lot. Just like on the visual side, one thing is just really making sure everything is visually compliant. A lot of times I was thinking like, oh, I'm looking on a phone, making sure it's phone size. Usually that's like 9 by 16 or 16 by 9, and then the size that it is on desktop. So making sure that it's equally visually compliant on both platforms, making sure each device that you're using, the device type. So a lot of the back end stuff that I learned, making sure like every user, every target demographic is taken into consideration, making sure that it's captioned correctly because I didn't even know, sometimes players care about, the way that they're viewed online, and then their parents care as well, how easily it is to search and find it. So learning about SEO, search engine optimization, all of those factors come into play. It's not just choosing like the best photo because I think it looks good. It's like, also, does the photo, is it relevant to the actual article? Does it make sense? And I think that's just even understanding the business and the industry of storytelling. And I think that's so popular now, just in creating a personal brand and a brand, representing a brand for the organization and being the voice for a school, a team, an organization. All of those factors like really come into play. And I think now, in my current role, like working in marketing and strategy, like the strategy part is just really being cognizant and having a pulse on everything in the industry, whether it's photos, videos, all aspects of like digital media. I think like that's super important.
And I definitely feel like with the branding, like you talked about earlier, you don't want just like picture that you got to figure out a picture that's going to best one, like you said, talk about just storytelling, but also
Yeah.
what's going to get the most engaged and to have people like either commenting on the social media posts or clicking on this picture to read this article. Because, like I think like one of the main things people talk about, like especially with social media, you got about 15 seconds to wow somebody. And if you don't, they're on to the next picture or caption. If you don't, and that could be the yes or no. Obviously, either get a new fan, retain a fan, or just bring in more. What's the word? Bringing more like notoriety to organizations.
Yeah.
Obviously, the football teams you worked about, everybody already knew who they were. But maybe maybe some odd person doesn't really watch sports. Like, oh, okay, I like this article. Let me start watching this team play or something. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And you never know like what will resonate like with the fan. And like you said, the first 15 seconds. I mean, I just read an article and they're saying now like the Gen Z community, it's less than 15 seconds. It's like the first 7 seconds. You gotta captivate their attention or they're like moving on to the next thing. So right now, like we're in the age of like content is king and it's like you don't know what will resonate with someone like building that community, like whether it's a caption, whether it's an emoji that you use, whether it's like, oh, is this brand like really up to date, are they like in tune with the culture, like, so it's just really a lot of things that go into it. So that's what I love like about the strategy side is just really you get the opportunity to like really look at the data and look at the analytics and study like user behavior and like what resonates with an audience. So yeah, that's super fun to me and super interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And then I know you talked about like making sure everything was good on the phone for the phone user people, because that's
Yeah.
definitely key, because a lot of people are now just on their phone. If it look funky on their phone, they just
Right.
be like, nah.
Yeah.
So
And that's what I'm saying. Like we have a short attention span, and then it's also like understanding the user experience. Like if an app is like messed up, if something doesn't make sense, if it's hard for them to navigate, they're gonna move on to the next like app. They're gonna move on to the next thing. So it's like all those factors come into play that you have to be mindful of.
it's definitely about maintaining those eyeballs on the site. So
Right, right, for sure.
it's definitely key. So I know you work with the Green Bay Packers. As we know, they have like one of the most unique fan culture in sports. How did you ensure that the digital user experience reflected that tradition while still keeping it modern with technology?
Yeah, that's a good question. So they're very traditional. When I first got there, my boss was just very like forthcoming with saying like the average season ticket member here is like 65, like and I got there during COVID. So I was there to really be responsible for the website and the mobile app. And this was the age of COVID, like I said. So they were switching from everything like physical tickets, they were switching to mobile tickets. So I was making sure I was working with Ticketmaster to make sure like the process was seamless of them scanning their tickets. I had to really explain to them. A lot of them didn't even have a smartphone, they had never downloaded like a mobile app before, so I had to explain to them like the process of like downloading a mobile app, like here's how to access your tickets. A lot of them were not used to like change. They were resistant to that. They were saying like, no, I still want to have my physical ticket. Like I've been doing this for the past 20, 30 years. So I wanted to accommodate like the older fans as well. So I had to work with the ticketing department. And had a list separate for the fans that wanted to pick up their tickets so they could still pick it up at will call. So that was like still keeping that traditional aspect for like the OG fans, I like to say, that still wanted to get like a physical ticket. So that's just a way like we kept the traditional aspect. And then when we switched to like when we did our 1 week out of the year, like you can do alternate uniforms, and we did Packers like throwback uniforms. So I created a 3D mobile app like experience for our fans to can view like all over the world, so they can tap into that. And it performed like extremely well because people like that nostalgic feeling. And they were saying like like, oh, I showed my parents this, and they said like, oh, these were their classic uniforms that they had growing up, so that they watched their team like growing up. So it just very like the feeling, like the traditional nostalgic feeling. Like I think tapping into that, that was like one strategy that I like really learned, like really studying your fan base. Like that's one thing that I really learned in Green Bay, like really learning. And you can really learn user behavior from a traditional fan base like the Packers for sure.
I tell you, if they don't like it, I tell
Yeah,
you.
they have no problem telling you, and that's another thing because they don't have an owner. It's owned like essentially by the city of Green Bay, so they like really feel like entitled, like to tell you their opinion. So they have no problem like calling you. The city's so small, like they find me on social media, like they like were in my DMs telling me like, can y'all fix this? Can you do this? So it's like it was a very small, so their feedback was heard. It was heard for sure.
It's funny as probably finding you on the social media and the DMs is crazy.
Yeah.
That's almost as bad as our coach getting his house aid last week.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, our offensive
I'm
coordinator,
like,
but
these fans, they will
yeah, they're
really
crazy. It's like they go a little bit too far sometimes. But so, in your time at working with the Houston Texans, what digital content performed surprisingly well, and what did that teach you about your audience behavior in the NFL market?
Yeah, so the content that performed like surprisingly well in the Texans um was really, I would say, really personified content. So like when I got there, they were doing more written, more long form, like story content. And this was the time when we were really stepping into that podcast era, where we are kind of right now. So I suggested like the writers like doing podcasts and leading with that and kind of personifying who they are. Like behind the written form, and surprisingly that performed like very well. And then we tapped into like our alumni. The most popular players were like JJ Watt and Andre Johnson, so we reached out to them and asked them to like host a podcast, and it performed extremely well. So really just tapping into like the audience and then just personifying our most popular players, former players, and our most popular like reporters, just so the fans could like really trying to build that community with the fans. When I first got there, I'm just like looking in Texas is huge, and then like looking at the competitors in Texas, like one of the other like big teams, of course, is like the Dallas Cowboys. And one thing is like they really tap into their community and they tap into their audience and their fan base, and they support like everything that they do. So looking at that as an example and then just saying like, oh, how did they kind of do that, and then kind of picking what worked for them and kind of tapping into that and like building a strategy on what would work for the Texans and what would work for the like the Houstonians in the area, like to say.
Yeah, the fans starting to get a little bit live out there now. Their team's actually doing well. But no, that's pretty cool that y'all tapped into the alumni, especially with like a player like as prominent as JJ Watt and Andre Johnson. I remember when I first did, you know, you see people like typically on screen like, damn, they're huge. But then I saw them in person working with the Commanders back in the day for communications. I'm like, oh, he's like even bigger in person. It's crazy. Yeah, so step into your senior manager digital marketing and strategy role at Roc Nation. Which was the biggest strategic shift you had to make compared to your previous NFL team roles?
I think the biggest shift I would have to say is on the NFL side, I'm just focused on like one team, which is just football and just NFL, 18 weeks, playoffs, boom, done. I think now, like on the agency side, it's like all sports. So it's like MLB, WNBA, NFL as well. But then we're tapping into also NIL, the collegiate space. So now it's just all encompassing all sports and keeping that in the back of my head. And just like, oh, it's not just football, it's baseball, it's basketball, it's everything. So like when one sport ends, it's normally, and then even our sports are even overlapping. So yeah, I'm getting more experience in other sports, not just the NFL. So I really enjoy that as well.
Cool. Yeah, but now you're juggling all the sports, one go, like you said, next one it's like it's never ending.
Yeah.
So what advice from everything that you know now, working from Alabama State up now to Roc Nation, what advice would you give to your younger self and also the younger women trying to enter into the sports industry?
Yeah, the advice I would give is I would say like be proactive and like start now. Like it's never too early to start and just express yourself and put yourself out there. Like now I see like, so many like kid reporters and so many, like young people like freelancing already doing graphic design, putting their work out there, sharing their opinions and sharing their thoughts. So yeah, building your portfolio early, I would suggest that. And then volunteering in your local like community. That could be a part of like your resume right now. So I would just advise like everyone that wants to work in sports, just, start right now. There's always like an opportunity available. You never know.
It don't even matter. You can live in a small town.
Right.
Sports is always going on somewhere. Like,
Exactly.
so yeah. So the sports world, as we know, is a highly competitive and often fast paced. What are some of the biggest challenges you faced in your career, and how did you navigate through them?
Just seeking mentorship and seeking advice sometimes. So I think that just starts with, putting yourself out there and, asking for help. I think sometimes you don't want to, we're too prideful and we might like get stuck in our own head and be like, like, oh, they're busy. I don't want to, ask them for advice or ask for help. So I think like that's one thing, like me personally, like I struggle with sometimes, just putting myself out there, asking for help, or if I'm stuck with something, asking for advice. I think that might be like yeah, one of the big like challenges I face. And then another thing, personally, is just like, imposter syndrome, because sometimes, I am the only black person in the room, the only black woman in the room. So just, like that feeling of like, am I supposed to be here? Like, and that's just, comes with, personal development, doing the work. So yeah, that's one thing I say. Yeah.
So like definitely like talk piggyback on the pride. Yeah, that's because it's like I was the same way. It was like, well, it's like, oh man, I could do it, but at the end of the day, like what they say, if you want to go fast, go long. You want to go far, go together. So eventually you're gonna have to lean on somebody. Now, obviously, you have to build that trust. Like, all right, this person not gonna throw it, or whatever.
Exactly.
But once you find that one person or two people, or whoever, stick with that circle. To help you where you need areas might be insufficient in, or areas you might want to learn some more things in. I guess what you said, mentorship.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a big key because early in the game, you find one of those that could be a
Right.
game changer. Some people might not find it through the later on in career, the latter stages, and now it's like, yeah, you just been,
Yeah.
just kicking it and just shooting, throwing darts at the board. Hopefully, something stick, and that's not how you want to go
Right.
far. You
That's
gotta
not how it works all the time. It's like you do have to have that community, and it is, especially like in the sports industry, it kind of is like, who at some companies and organizations. Your word and your reputation goes a long way. So really, yeah, relationships are super, super important.
And then that, especially with the imposter, which is real,
Yep.
which some people think I had that positive self-talk, and like you talking about going to professional development, doing the work behind the scenes that nobody sees, where you're trying to perfect your craft. That's another, like, obviously helpful ways to deal with imposter syndrome. So I definitely understand that because those are two critical points.
Right.
Um,
Right. For sure.
but looking back at your journey from Alabama State to the Baltimore Ravens, Green Bay Packers, Houston Texans, now with Roc Nation, what has been the proudest moment of your career so far, and what was the moment that said, "Wow, I'm really doing this"?
I think the proudest moment of my career was probably, yeah, like moving to New York, getting this position. I think it just really showed, like, I am stepping up into these managerial, like, senior level roles. It's just showing like I am like solidifying my career like in the sports like industry and space. I think, it's like, oh, I am like an adult and a big girl, because you start this like when you're fresh out of college, and you really don't stop sometimes and look back and reflect and be like, wow, I have made it, this far. I am really doing this now. Like I am here to stay. So I think like that moment really like showed me like, hey, I am doing this, and I have made a career out of this. So yeah, that was probably like the most, yeah, career defining moment for me personally.
Moment, especially all the hard work you put in from Alabama State up until now, and he's like, okay, like a lot of time, a lot of times people always, I guess, say they can get flustered because they can be doing all these things and might never get that big break, but when you finally get it, it's like, okay, all this hard work paid off. Doing these internships that for free, or doing these like low paying jobs early on in my career, work and got me to the stage where I'm at now. So that's always like a good feeling, like for anyone, just like, okay, like this paid off, instead of like, oh, I was just shucking and driving, just throwing darts, and nothing ever stuck. But this actually did. So yeah, that's always pretty good. What's a dream project or partnership for you that you haven't done yet and would like to do?
I think dream project or dream partnership is just anything like involved with like the WNBA. I think they're so popular right now and they're continuing to grow. So being a part of that, like even Unrivaled, they're going into season 2. If I could do anything, being involved with that or being involved with them. We have like 2 clients, Skylar Diggins and Rakia Jackson, that are going to be down there playing in that. So if I could, like be a part of a partnership or anything that they have going on, like I would love to be involved in, anything women's sports, anything, that related, that realm, WNBA. Like, yeah, it's gonna be a popular industry next year for sure.
Because I think they might have a few games this year down here in Philly, so that's gonna be. I think it starts back in January, early January, so that's
Yeah.
gonna be pretty cool. And I like Rakia Jackson. I like her game, and she's funny as hell. What you
Yeah.
call it, the man National Basketball Association. She funny as hell. But I,
Yes, she is. Yeah, even her showing her personality,
yeah,
like
that's what I said. I
authentically,
was going
like
to
that.
ask you, like, what's like working with her? I know her personality probably be funny. Her and Skylar
Yeah,
Diggins, like Skylar Diggins, like it's always like they even Notre Dame, like she'll type player to get in other people's face and not as
yeah,
scared to tell you how she feels about you or about the game.
right.
Like, who was she playing? I think it was when they was playing Minnesota late in the season. She was going at him. I was like,
Oh
oh, welcome back,
yeah,
Skylar.
yeah. Her and yeah, she's very competitive, and yeah, that game she went off. I know exactly what game you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, she going chirping at the bench. I
Right.
was like, man, she funny though. But I always love Skylar Digger's game. But just some closing remarks. Is there anything you'd like to add that we didn't already discuss? And also, where can people find you on social media? And then I guess some of the work you post on social media.
Yeah. So my social media on LinkedIn, you can find me, my name, Joidon Jennings. On IG, it's my first name, Joidon underscore. On TikTok, I'm on there. My TikTok is Couth Careers, CouthCareers. I'm on X, well, formerly known as Twitter. You can find me on there, Joydon Jennings, if you search me. So yeah, those are all my accounts. Anything that we did not cover that we talked about is, well, now since we're about to step into the new year, I would just encourage everyone, like, don't wait into the new year to like write down your new goals and to practice your resolutions. Like, you can start like right now and get a head start, especially like against the competition, like the people that are waiting until January 1 to get started. Like, you can do it right now. You can start, getting your resume together, looking for jobs, applying to places. Like, use this time to, still be positive and still have that mindset to like, I'm not gonna wait till the new year. I'm gonna, get a head start on my goals. Yeah, and that's one thing I always say too. And like, don't listen to the haters. Like, your vision is your vision. A lot of times people told me, like, you're crazy for, moving all over and doing all this. But it's like, I know the plans that I have for myself, and I know the vision I have for myself. It's very different than, other people. So just always trust yourself and trust your gut, and trust God. I always say that as
Amen.
well too. And just know that, greater is he that is in you than he is that is in this world. So as long as you know that, then you'll be set. You'll be
Spitting them scriptures. I see it.
I gotta leave him with that,
I know that's right. But no, I appreciate you coming on.
Yes, thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you
no
so
problem.
much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.